What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, I think this is, season 14, episode 9. The episode is titled Midnight in the Chateau of Good and Evil. That is a long-ass title. Alright, you guys, so before we go ahead and get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and not subscribed, I need you guys to do me a solid favor and subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, nope, that's not how it goes. I'm gonna need you guys to stop taking out this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. Do me that favor by liking the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and sharing the video. And with that out of the way, you guys, without further ado, let's discuss the Real Housewives of Atlanta, shall we? All right, you guys, I want to go ahead and get Drew out the way. So we see Drew. So Drew and her mom, they are going to, I believe they were at the nail shop. I don't know. So I want to say this. I like Drew to an extent. Drew can be annoying. Drew does lie. But Drew is not, I don't dislike Drew. I wish Drew would be honest a lot more than what she is. But hey. So we see her and her mom, and they're getting the pedicures. So Drew tells her mother that Ralph is writing a book on step-parenting. I mean, step-parent is, I don't know if Drew doesn't realize what a step-parent is, but a step-parent means that you're married to my mother or my father, you're my stepmother, stepfather. But I got what Drew was saying when she was talking to her mother about Ralph, because she's saying that Ralph is writing his book, but Ralph has still not talked about adopting Josiah. So I guess she finds the issue with that. I don't find an issue with it. If you guys do find an issue with it, feel free to leave it in the comment section. But if he's writing a book on how to be a good step parent, that's fine. Because we see that, her son Josiah has a great relationship with Ralph. Now, could Ralph go one step further and adopt a little boy? Yes. Because I know sometimes kids could feel like, damn, my mom married him and she has kids with him. And I know sometimes kids can feel a way when they don't have the same last name as their siblings. I know some kids can. I didn't. Well, actually with my siblings. So my brother has it. My older brother, he has his dad's last name. When I was born, my mother, who raised me, gave me my biological mother's last name. And then my little brother, who's up under me, he has her last name as well. So my little brother and I, we're the only two that has my mom's last name. And my baby brother and my baby sister, they have their dad's last name, who is my mother's husband. And she has his last name as well. So I didn't give a shit. When I found out about them, I didn't care. I'm like, hell, my last name is... When I found out where my last name came from, I was like, can I change it? But I decided not to. When I went through the adoption process with my mom, I decided not to. So, because I had my name. I had this last name for 14 years. I was like, why change it now? But hey, whatever. So, then her mom plays this recording for her from a prophet. I was like, oh my God, not another prophet, you guys. That was what threw me off. That was what, when last season with Drew, that was the thing that I couldn't stand, was the whole prophet Lot situation with her and LaToya. That was what threw me off with Drew. It wasn't her issue with Kenya. It was the god dang on prophet. I was like, oh my God, girl. But at least it's recorded this time and not on a boombox or whatever the hell that was that Drew had last season. So the prophet says that when her mother came to Atlanta, that she needed to pray over Drew and her, because Drew has an adversary. Now in the spirit realm, it looks like a woman, but it could be a woman or it could be a man. I was like, girl, what the hell are we talking about here? Now you guys know I'm not into the whole prophesizing thing. That's not something that I'm into. If you guys are into prophets and all that, I'm not knocking you. It's just not something that I'm into. If you guys are, I'm not judging. Just didn't understand it. So then Drew tells her mom about the situation between she and Sanya. I was like, oh my God, so we still talking about this shit with her and Sanya. Oh God, Drew, let it go. I thought you and her made up. And granted, Sanya's not my favorite person, but I was like, Drew, I thought y'all made up. But okay, Drew. But I guess Drew feels a way about the comment that Sanya made to Ralph about them, not knowing what they really do to make them so busy. Girl, I think a lot of us have been asking that question, why you need for assistance. But okay, Drew, I'm gonna let Drew have it. I'm not gonna shit on Drew. I'm not gonna come down on Drew. Drew, if you want to do what you want to do, go ahead and do you. It wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, again, what do y'all need for assistance for? That's the question I just really want to know, what they need for assistance for. But hey, I'm done with Drew, you guys. Let's pause here and we're gonna move forward. All right, you guys, let's talk about Marlo. So with Marlo, I don't know how I feel about Marlo as a peach holder. I think I can say this, that I prefer Marlo as a friend of the Housewives. I don't think Marlo is doing anything with this peach. I do kind of like her storyline with her nephews, but they don't show that as much. All we really see is Marlo being messy. And that's kind of what Eva said on Watch What Happens Live. Marlo's not doing anything with this peach, but you can see that Marlo has an interesting story, but she's not showing it. She's not putting it forward. What Marlo is actually showing us is the mess. She's coming at Kenya. She's coming at Eva. Nope, wrong person. She's coming at Kenya and Candy. And like I've said in numerous reviews, the reason that I feel that she's coming at both Kenya and Candy is because she's trying to solidify that peach. She's trying to make sure that when they go to the reunion this season, when they go to the reunion, she wants to sit next to Andy. But even sitting next to Andy doesn't mean that you're going to come back. How many times has Vicky Gunvalson sat next to Andy Cohen and we see what happened with Vicky? But so I feel like what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I feel like she wants to sit next to Andy at the reunion. I feel like she wants to give it her all at the reunion, so that way once the reunion airs and they send out those contracts, she gets her contract. And I feel like she feels the best way to get her contract is if she has conflict with both Kenya and both Candy. I don't know why she feels she needs to have conflict with Candy. I guess the reason why she feels she should have conflict with Candy is because Candy has been on the show the longest out of all the ladies, and Kenya because of who she is, because people have saw Kenya as a villain. So if you go at it with Kenya, I guess some people feel that that'll solidify them another season. I don't know. I don't know. But we see Marlo with her nephews. If we saw more of this with Marlo and her nephews, I think Marlo would be a little bit more likable. I think she would be. You guys let me know what you think about that situation. If Marlo would just... And then Marlo is also the type of person that takes low blows. Like, Marlo doesn't know how to read at all. Marlo gets gutter. And she says the most vile and disgusting things. Which to me, when it comes to Kenya, I don't know why Kenya tried to befriend Marlo. This woman literally sat there and said that your own mother didn't love you. Somebody who can say something that gutter and that low is not your friend and will never be your friend. I just never understood. But last season with Kenya and Marlo, it was a team up to come at Portia. Let's keep it real. Team Twirl didn't want to say that last season, but that's exactly what it was. Because look at it. Portia's not on the show no more, and now Marlo is back against Kenya. She wasn't her friend to begin with. That was fake. Marlo teamed up with Kenya because, one, Nene was no longer on the show last season, and she came at Portia. So, let's be real. Let's keep it real. So, her nephews have been misbehaving, and she says, do they need to talk to someone? I'm like, Marlo, that should have been one of the first things you did. When their mother went to jail, and you got those boys, you don't know what kind of toll that took on them. You should have immediately said, you know what, I need you guys to sit down and just talk to someone. You have a safe space where you don't have to worry about their judgments, their opinions of you. They're just there to listen to you and to, give you tools to, move forward in your lives. She should have done that from the jump, but she didn't. So then we see Marlo. So she's out shopping for her home. So Marlo's home is going to be built around she said 12 to 14 months. So she's joined by Sheree and she's joined by Sonya. So Sheree tells him that she's going to be having a pajama party and she's going to invite all the ladies. So then Sonya tells Marlo that, she met up with Kenya and, how Kenya feels. She feels like, Marlo is just being rude and nasty to her, which she 100% is. And Marlo says that Kenya has never acted like that and they have not been friends in years. I was like, so what was that last season? Because y'all were buddy-buddy last season. Y'all made up when y'all went for Cynthia's bachelorette party, and then the rest of the season and even at the reunion, y'all were buddy-buddy. So what the hell was that? But y'all ain't been friends in years. Marlo is fake as hell. And Sonya told her, Kenya felt like she blindsided her. I mean, shit, it wasn't no felt, baby. She blindsided Kenya. So Sonya says, well, can you not go low? She says no, and I'm like, she's telling the truth. Like, listen to her. She's telling you the truth. She cannot go without taking a low blow to anybody. So then Marlo tells them that, the boys, she freaked out on the boys. So I guess they had some dirty clothes around the house. She took one of them's computers and he took it back. I mean, they're so preteen and teenage boys. My mama did some of the same stuff to me. My mom did a lot of that stuff to me. There were things that my mom took away from me when I was a teenager. She would take certain things and she would put it in her room and hide it. But the thing is, I knew where she hid it at. So when she would leave, when she would go to work, and I was at home, I would go in her room, get whatever I wanted, and use it and put it back. And she would be I thought she was none the wiser. She later told me, she's like, Jerome, I know that you took it because I put it a certain way and you didn't put it back the way that I put it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, okay, I took it. So Marlo got fed up with the boys and she told the boys that they had to go. I was like, wow, you told them that they had to go. So they went to her sister's place and they're going to stay there for 30 days. I'm like, girl, my mama would have never done that. And I got on her nerves when I was a teenager. I got on her nerves and we had many moments where we would argue with each other. And I would say, you know what, I want to go to my big mama's house. She would say, there would be times that she would tell me, no, you cannot go over there. Or she would say, you know what, call her, ask her, can you come over there and stay? And I would call my big mama. Sometimes my big mama would say, why do you want to come? She wouldn't say why. So what's going on with you and your mama? I said, we got into it because of such and such. Sometimes my big mama would say, bring him out, give your mama the phone. And she would tell her to bring me over there and I would go stay with her for the weekend. Or sometimes she would tell me, Jerome, you need to listen to your mama. She's telling you the right thing to do. Listen to your mama and you stay at home. So there would be times where my grandmother would say, stay at home with your mama. Or there would be times that she was like, you two need a break from each other. Come on over here and spend the weekend with me. Not no damn 30 days. My grandmother would have never let me come and stay 30 days with her if me and my mama got into an argument with each other or had a disagreement. She was never going to do 30 days. Only time my grandmother would let any of us come stay with her is if it was school related. Like I had my little cousin, she went to stay with my grandmother because she wanted to go to a certain school. The high school that we went to, they didn't live in our district, so she stayed with my grandmother for school. But then by the summer, during the summer, she would go home with my aunt. And then regular school year, she would be back at my grandmother's house. But as far as just staying with my grandma, because we having issues with our mamas and her kids, she wouldn't go for it. Never, ever, ever. But so I'm gonna pause here, you guys, and we're gonna move forward. So next up, you guys, let's talk about Kenya. So we see Kenya. So Kenya has Sonya over to her home, and this is when Sonya was talking. They were talking about Marlo. They were talking about the party. So Sonya's talking about her, and they're also talking about Sonya's family living with her. And how how having sex with Ross is kind of interesting because they feel like they're kids again because they have to kind of sneak around. I really don't care, you guys, to be quite honest, when it comes to Sonya. So while they're talking, Candy calls. So Candy tells them about the situation that happened with her gate. The guy came over saying that Candy told him to come over. He was Beyonce's relative. He was T.I.'s son. That boy is a nutcase. That boy is a true nutcase. So that's when after that, Kenya and Sonya, they talked about Marlo. I've already talked about it. So I just don't understand how Kenya thought that Marlo was her friend. I don't understand how she can feel like that woman was her friend, but hey, she did. Now she's regretting it. But hey, let's pause here, you guys, and wrap up the episode with She by She Ain't Got It. So, you guys, we see She by She Ain't Got It. Her and her friend Fatum. I don't like Fatum. Fatum, whatever. Fatum. That's her name. Fatum. I don't like Fatum. Fatum is just not for me. So we see Fatum and She by She Ain't Got It. They're doing a podcast with Tiara, Sheree's daughter. So Tiara pulls up this article about Tyrone where it said that, because of Sheree, he almost ended up back in jail. He almost ended up back in prison. So Sheree says that that's not true. She says that, he wanted to come on this show and tell his side of the story. I'm like, what side of the story? He's a con. He stole money from people. What side of your story are you telling? Who cares about Tyrone's side of the story? Who knows who a Tyrone is? Like, the last time we ever heard about Tyrone was season 4 when Sheree and Nene got into it. Rich bitch, you need your motherfucking teeth fixed. Like, when she told her that. They're done. They're done. They were big too. So then now this next scene with Sheree. Baby, I didn't feel not anything in this scene with Sheree when her and Fatum were at her house and Sheree was talking about how she feels duped like the victims of Tyrone's. She feels played. She feels stupid. You should. You are doing all of this behind a nigga that was in prison, and then when he got, I'm gonna repeat it one more time. How in the fuck do you get played by a man that gotta ask another man for permission to pee, to shit, to eat, to sleep, to do anything? And then that's in prison. Then we got out and went to the halfway house. He had to ask for permission to leave the halfway house to come see you. How do you get played by somebody like that? Please explain that. How you get played? You could never play me. Like, I'd be damn if I'm gonna get played by a person who doesn't have freedom. Absolutely not. So Sheree starts crying. I didn't see a tear from Sheree, and I didn't feel nothing for Sheree. If you guys felt excuse me, y'all, if you guys felt anything for Sheree, let me know in the comment section. But for me, I ain't feel no sympathy, no empathy, no nothing for Sheree. Sheree put herself in that position, and she made that, as my grandma used to say, you make your bed and you lie in it. So Sheree, you gotta lie in that bed. So then she told Fatum she's blocked him. Like, girl, okay, you should have blocked him when he got out of jail. I mean, we watch Love After Lockup. We love Love After Lockup. But I just can't imagine, especially with Sheree, because he was in jail for quite some time. Because he didn't get out of jail until what? Season 12. It was season 12 when he got out of season. Because she was on season 10. Season 11, he was still in jail. Season 12, that's when they were looking at her to come back, but as a friend of, and he had just gotten out of jail at that time. I think Tyrone got out of jail just before the pandemic happened. So nah, ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way. So then we see all the ladies show up to Sheree's slumber party. Fatum is looking for a peach in a moment because she's coming at Drew once again. She's talking about the fact that how she felt when they were at Kenya's daughter's party about Drew. She felt Drew came at her. So she went and got a private investigator to... Girl, who is Drew? I'm sorry. Drew is the last person that I'm going to have a private investigator look into. Drew. So she's talking about Drew and Ralph have aliases. Girl, I don't care. I don't care what aliases Ralph and Drew have. But then the question is, why do Ralph and Drew have aliases? Why do Ralph and... there are a lot of questions when it comes to Ralph and Drew. Why do they have aliases? Why do they have those for assistants? A lot of things. Why did Drew change that woman's business to drop it with Drew? A lot of questions come up when it comes to Drew. But I'd be damned if I'm finna get a private investigator looking to Drew Sidora. Absolutely not. So yeah, Fatum is looking for a moment, and then even in this scene, Lisa Wu was looking for a scene. Now, I didn't care that she was coming at Sanya, but she was looking for a moment. I'm like, so y'all looking for a peach, huh? Okay. So, Drew and Sanya, they talked about the comment that Sanya made about Ralph not knowing what makes them so busy. Drew was putting 20 on 10, but I did catch a little bit of shade from Sanya because she misspoke. Sanya meant to say she talked to Ralph, but then she said Drew. She said, I'm Drew. Well, y'all both have boy names. I'm like, no, they don't. Drew has a boy name. Ralph has a boy name as well. And that ended the conversation. I was like, okay, whatever. Honestly, you guys, I can do without Sanya, and I can do without Drew. I don't dislike Drew, but I can do without Drew. So then we see Marlo. Marlo went to the bathroom, and Candy had to go to the bathroom as well. She didn't know that Marlo was in there. So Marlo. Now, see, here's my thing with Marlo. Marlo has been talking shit about Candy, but Candy literally put everything to the side and literally sat there and listened to what Marlo had to say about her nephews. And I'm like, see, you talk about her not being a good friend, but you've been calling Candy all kind of hoes and stuff, but she is sitting here listening to you talking about your nephews, and she was being a good friend in that moment. Baby, Candy is better than me, because I would have told Marlo to go to hell. But she literally sat there and listened to her. So they then sat down and they played this game of Yes Queen, where they had this, if they said something nice about somebody, they would say, yes, Queen. You guys, Fatum's face, her makeup was too white, and then her eyebrows went up like this, and her face just scared the shit out of me. Her face scared me. But Kenya, in the middle of them playing Yes Queen, Kenya brought up Fatum looking into Ralph and Drew and the aliases. So there's an alias. She says Danielle, but Drew says that that's her assistant. Okay, I'm just still kind of confused. As girl, why the hell would you get why would you look into Drew? Again, it's Drew. But okay, Kenya was lit, and that wig was lit too. Kenya and that wig, because I was looking at the wig, right? So right here, you can see some black hair. You can see the black hair, but then back here, it looked like it was brown or something, and it didn't have no. I'm like, Kenya, girl, burn this wig, girl, get rid of the wig, get rid of the wig. So after that, they had fun. Marlo, she invited the ladies on a trip, so they are going to go to Blue Ridge Mountain. Now, why did she get in Kenya's face? I mean, Kenya wasn't doing shit to her. She kind of got in Kenya's face. And I'm like, if Kenya had to hit through it, because I saw the glasses moving. I'm like, oh hell. But that's the episode, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands, you guys. Wear a mask. Socially distance. Be blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.